She had rewritten reality to bring back her children. She had torn through dimensions searching for them. And when she fell into a galaxy ruled by the Force, she discovered something terrifying. The dark side wanted her, and it was willing to promise her everything, even the impossible, if she would only surrender to its embrace. For thousands of generations, the Jedi studied its mysteries, believing they had mapped every manifestation of its power. The Sith delved into its darkest depths, certain they had mastered every forbidden technique. Both were wrong, because what arrived in Imperial space on a night when 3 moons aligned over Mustafar was something the Force had never touched and could not understand. The distortion appeared first as a mathematical impossibility. Navigation computers across 6 star systems registered coordinates that shouldn't exist. Hyperspace lanes buckled. Reality itself seemed to flinch away from something tearing through the membrane between universes. And then she fell. Wanda Maximoff tumbled through the void between dimensions, chaos magic sparking red around her clenched fists. The Darkhold spell had promised her children existed somewhere in the multiverse. She had torn through reality after reality, searching, desperate, grief-mad with the need to find Billy and Tommy. This dimension felt different the moment she crashed through. The energy here was alive in ways she'd never experienced, ancient, watchful, and deeply alarmed by her presence. She materialized above a volcanic world, its surface carved with black castles that radiated malevolence. The air burned with heat and something else, rage, old and festering like an infected wound. Wanda caught herself with telekinesis before she could plummet into the lava rivers below, hovering in the ash-filled sky as she oriented herself. "Where am I?" she whispered, and her voice carried across the Force like a scream. On the other side of the galaxy, Emperor Palpatine's eyes snapped open in his meditation chamber on Coruscant. He had felt disturbances in the Force before. Tremors, warnings, visions of possible futures. This was different. This was a wrongness, a power that had no business existing in his carefully ordered empire. It didn't feel like the light side's sanctimonious tranquility or the dark side's passionate fury. It felt like reality was bleeding. "Fascinating," he murmured, yellow eyes gleaming in the darkness. "What are you?" On Mustafar, Wanda descended toward the obsidian fortress, drawn by instinct toward shelter. She didn't know this was Darth Vader's domain, didn't know that the dark side saturated every stone of this place, didn't know that her chaos magic, always reactive to emotion, was already beginning to resonate with the rage and grief soaked into Mustafar's very bedrock. She landed on a balcony overlooking the lava flows, and for a moment, the similarity to her own losses struck her. This place had witnessed destruction. Someone had suffered here. The knowledge settled into her bones like recognition. Behind her, a door hissed open. "You will identify yourself." The voice was mechanized, emotionless, backed by the rhythmic breathing of a respirator. Wanda turned to face Darth Vader. She didn't know his name or his legend. She saw only a man encased in black armor, a cape flowing behind him, and eyes hidden behind red-tinted lenses. But she felt his pain. Oh, she felt it. It radiated from him in waves that her chaos magic drank in like water. "I'm lost," she said, and it was the truest thing she'd spoken in months. "I'm looking for my children." Vader tilted his head, studying her. Through the Force, he sensed her power. Vast, alien, dangerous. It didn't flow through her like the Force flowed through a Jedi or Sith. It was her, woven into her very existence. And beneath that power, he sensed something achingly familiar, the howling grief of someone who had lost everything. "There are no children here," Vader said. "Only the servants of the Empire. You will come with me for questioning." Red energy flickered around Wanda's hands. "I don't take orders anymore." Vader's lightsaber ignited, its crimson blade casting bloody light across the balcony. "Then you will be taken by force." The duel lasted exactly 7 seconds. Wanda gestured, and Vader's lightsaber tore from his grip, spinning away into the lava below. Another gesture, an invisible force slammed him against the fortress wall, hard enough to crack the stone. Vader reached out with the force to crush her throat, and his power simply slid off her chaos magic like water off obsidian. Wanda walked toward him, reality rippling with each step. I said I don't take orders. She leaned close and her eyes glowed red. And I will find my children, with or without your help. She released him and turned away, preparing to tear another hole in reality and continue her search. But before she could, Vader spoke again, his voice barely above a whisper. I lost my children too. Wanda froze. Slowly, she turned back to face him. Vader straightened, damaged but not defeated. I know what it is to search the galaxy for something that cannot be found. To rage against reality itself because it has taken what you love most. His respirator wheezed in the silence between them. I know what it is to let that rage consume everything you once were. For a long moment, they stared at each other. Two beings hollowed out by grief, standing on a world that had witnessed the death of hope itself. Your children are not in this galaxy, Vader said, but the Emperor may have the knowledge you seek. He knows many things, secret things, ways to breach the barriers between worlds. Wanda's eyes narrowed. And what does this Emperor want in return? He will tell you himself. He is already on his way. Above them, a massive star destroyer dropped out of hyperspace, blotting out the stars. And aboard that ship, Palpatine smiled, because he had felt the duel through the Force and understood what he had just been given. Not a Force sensitive to be trained or an enemy to be destroyed, but a weapon that could rewrite the very fabric of existence. If you want to see more characters enter the Star Wars galaxy, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character you'd want to see in the comments below. May the Force be with you. The Scarlet Witch had arrived in a galaxy far, far away, and nothing would ever be the same. The Star Destroyer's hangar bay was a cathedral of Imperial efficiency. Rows of TIE fighters, squads of stormtroopers standing at perfect attention, and the cold metallic smell of a war machine that never slept. Wanda walked down the boarding ramp beside Vader, her red leather jacket and street clothes utterly out of place among the gray uniforms and black armor. She didn't care. Let them stare. Every officer and trooper in the hangar felt something deeply wrong about her presence. It wasn't fear exactly, more like the instinctive revulsion of approaching a predator that didn't belong in their ecosystem. Several stormtroopers found reasons to check their blasters. A navigation officer abruptly remembered urgent business elsewhere. They're afraid of me, Wanda observed. They should be, Vader replied. You are an unknown variable in a galaxy where the Emperor has eliminated all variables. They walked through corridors that seemed to stretch forever, deeper into the ship's heart. Wanda noticed the propaganda posters, images of Palpatine with slogans about order and security. She'd seen this before. Hydra had used the same playbook. So had the Sokovia government before Ultron destroyed it. Every tyrant wrapped themselves in the language of protection while building prisons. But she wasn't here to topple empires or save galaxies. She was here for Billy and Tommy. Everything else was just noise. The throne room doors opened with a pneumatic hiss. Emperor Palpatine sat on a simple black chair, but his presence filled the chamber like gravity filled space. Invisible, inescapable, crushing. He wore robes of deep burgundy, his face hidden beneath a hood. When he spoke, his voice was grandfatherly, almost kind. Welcome, my dear. Welcome. You have traveled so very far, haven't you? Across barriers that should not be crossed, through realities that were never meant to touch, all in search of what you have lost. Wanda stopped 10 feet from his throne. You know about my children? I know many things. Palpatine leaned forward, and the hood fell back to reveal his ruined face, skin like melted wax, eyes burning yellow with dark power. I know you are called the Scarlet Witch. I know your power comes not from the force that binds this galaxy, but from something older and more chaotic. I know you rewrote an entire reality once, creating a perfect world where your children existed and your pain was nothing but a distant dream. Wanda's hands clenched. How? The Force shows me fragments of many possible truths. When you tore through the barriers between universes, you left echoes, ripples, scars. Palpatine stood, descending the steps toward her, with surprising grace for someone so ancient. But here is what I know most importantly, Wanda Maximoff. Your children do exist. Somewhere in the infinite multiverse, they are real. They are alive. They are waiting for their mother to find them. Hope and suspicion warred in Wanda's chest. You're lying. Am I? Palpatine stopped just beyond her reach. Tell me, when you sleep, do you hear them calling? Do you feel the echo of their existence just beyond your grasp? That is not imagination, child. That is the reality your power senses but cannot quite reach. You are close, so close. You simply lack the knowledge to bridge the final gap. And you have this knowledge. It wasn't a question. I have access to repositories of forbidden wisdom accumulated over millennia. The Jedi kept many secrets before I destroyed them. The Sith Lords who came before me plumbed depths of reality that would drive lesser minds to madness. Palpatine's smile was sympathetic, understanding. I could teach you, help you, but such knowledge comes at a price. There it was, the hook beneath the bait. Wanda had lived long enough to recognize a deal with the devil. What price? Your cooperation, your power, used in service of order and peace. Palpatine gestured to the viewport where stars streaked by in hyperspace. This galaxy is vast and fractured. Rebels threaten the stability I have worked so hard to create. Remnants of the Jedi Order hide in shadows, plotting to return the galaxy to the chaos of the Republic. I need someone with your unique abilities to help me eliminate these threats. Once the galaxy is secured, once true peace reigns, I will give you everything you need to find your children. You want me to kill for you? I want you to save billions of lives by preventing a devastating war. The rebellion would burn entire worlds to restore their flawed democracy. I offer efficiency, safety, a galaxy where families like yours need never fear loss again. Palpatine's voice dropped to a whisper. Help me create that galaxy, Wanda. Help me build a reality where no mother must search the multiverse for her stolen children. Wanda wanted to refuse, wanted to tell this manipulative monster that she'd seen his type before and knew exactly what he was. But the truth was more complicated. She was tired, so tired, and if there was even a chance he could help her find Billy and Tommy. I need time to think. Of course, of course. Palpatine gestured and a protocol droid appeared. You will be given quarters befitting your status. Rest, recover from your journey. We will speak again when you are ready. As the droid led her away, Vader stepped from the shadows where he'd been observing. She will refuse. Perhaps, Palpatine said, or perhaps she will do what you did, Lord Vader. Perhaps she will tell herself that the ends justify the means. That once she has what she wants, she can walk away clean. He chuckled, a sound like grinding bones. They always believe they can walk away. In her quarters, a suite more luxurious than anywhere she'd stayed since Westview, Wanda stood at the viewport and stared at the stars. She pressed her palm against the transparent steel, and red energy rippled across its surface. Her chaos magic hungered. It always hungered. And here, in this place saturated with dark emotions and old pain, it felt stronger than ever. She could feel something else too, a presence, vast and patient, that watched her from the shadows of this strange new universe. It whispered promises in a language she didn't know but somehow understood. Power, control, the ability to reshape reality until it gave her back what it had taken. The dark side had found her, and it was very, very interested. The Inquisitorious Fortress on Noor was a monument to methodical cruelty. Built in the unknown regions where screams couldn't reach civilized space, it served as training ground and prison for those who hunted the Emperor's enemies. Its halls echoed with the anguish of captured Force sensitives being broken, converted, or destroyed. Palpatine brought Wanda here 3 days after their first meeting. I want to show you what we're fighting against, he said as they walked through corridors lined with cells. The Jedi preached compassion and selflessness, but they stole children from their families to indoctrinate them in their rigid code. They forbade love, demanded emotional suppression, and when the galaxy needed them most, they tried to assassinate me and seize power. Wanda looked into the cells as they passed. She saw humanoid beings of dozens of species, some meditative, others raging against the force-dampening fields that contained them. These people tried to kill you? These people refused to accept that the war is over. They cling to the old ways, believing themselves guardians of peace while their very existence invites conflict. Palpatine stopped before one cell containing a young Mirialan woman, her face tattooed with geometric patterns. This one infiltrated an Imperial facility and murdered 17 officers. 17 beings with families, children, futures, all because she believes the Force has chosen her as an instrument of justice. The Mirialan's eyes met Wanda's. "The Force is with me. The darkness you serve will consume you." Wanda's expression didn't change. She'd heard similar proclamations before. "I don't serve darkness, I serve myself." "Then you're already lost." Palpatine made a dismissive gesture, and they moved on. "You see, fanaticism masquerading as enlightenment? The Jedi created generations of warriors too dangerous to live freely, too indoctrinated to rehabilitate. We must neutralize them for the galaxy's safety." They entered a training chamber where Inquisitors sparred. Wanda watched as a Padawan warrior with gray skin and red eyes fought 3 combat droids simultaneously, his double-bladed lightsabers spinning in lethal arcs. The Inquisitors were former Jedi who had turned to the Empire's service, Palpatine explained. They understood that survival required adaptation. "I want you to meet someone," Palpatine said and gestured toward a human woman in dark armor approaching them. "This is the third sister. Reva was once a Jedi youngling who survived the Temple Purge. She learned that the Jedi's failure to protect their own proved the weakness of their philosophy." Reva bowed to Palpatine but studied Wanda with unconcealed hostility. "This is the anomaly? The reality bender the Emperor has been coddling?" "Mind your tongue," Vader warned from behind them. He had accompanied them to Noor, a silent presence that made even the Inquisitors nervous. "It's fine," Wanda said. "She doesn't trust me. Smart." Reva's hand moved to her lightsaber. "I sense no force within you, yet you wield power. You're an abomination, an infection in the natural order." "The natural order?" Wanda laughed without humor. "In my universe, people said the same thing about me. Called me a freak, a monster, a weapon of mass destruction." She stepped closer to Reva, and chaos magic flickered around her fingers. "They were right. I am dangerous. I am unnatural, and I've stopped caring what people think about it." Reva ignited her lightsaber, the yellow blade humming between them. "Then perhaps—" The weapon shattered. Wanda had gestured almost casually, and the lightsaber's kyber crystal fractured into dust, the energy blade dissipating as the hilt crumbled in Reva's hand. The Inquisitor stared at the ruined weapon in shock. Kyber crystals were nearly indestructible. They survived planetary destruction, and this woman had unmade one with a thought. "I'm not your enemy," Wanda said quietly, "but push me, and I'll show you what I showed Thanos when he took everything from me." Palpatine's smile widened. "Excellent. Such passion. Such power." He placed a paternal hand on Wanda's shoulder, and she was too shocked by her own outburst to shake it off. "You see, Reva, this is what true strength looks like. Not the Jedi's restraint or the old Sith's theatrical cruelty. Raw, honest power wielded with purpose." But Wanda barely heard him. She was staring at her hands, at the red energy still sparking between her fingers. She'd destroyed the lightsaber without thinking, reacting purely on instinct and anger. When had her control become so loose? When had violence become her first response instead of her last? "Since Westview," a small voice whispered. "Since you held an entire town hostage to live in a delusion? Since you dreamwalked through universes, slaughtering alternate versions of yourself? Since you became what they always feared you were?" "I need air," she muttered, and walked out of the training chamber. She found herself on an observation platform overlooking Noor's perpetually stormy ocean. Lightning crackled across a black clouds. The waves churned with bioluminescent creatures that glowed green and blue in the depths. It reminded her of Sokovia during the worst storms, beautiful and terrible in equal measure. Vader joined her at the railing. For several minutes, neither spoke. "The Emperor is manipulating you," Vader finally said. Wanda glanced at him. "I know, yet you remain." "I remain because he's offering me what I need, a chance to find Billy and Tommy." She turned to face him fully. "You said you lost children too. How did you survive it?" Vader's respirator wheezed for several cycles before he answered. I didn't. The man I was died with them. What stands before you is something else. And if you could bring them back, if someone offered you that chance, what would you pay? Everything. The word was immediate, certain, heavy with old anguish. I would burn the galaxy to ash for one moment with them again. Wanda nodded slowly. Then you understand. I understand that path leads only to damnation, Vader said. I have walked it to its end. There is no salvation waiting there, Wanda Maximoff. Only the slow death of everything you once valued. Maybe I don't value anything anymore except my children. That is what the dark side wants you to believe. It whispers that love justifies any atrocity, that grief excuses every betrayal, but in truth, it simply wants to consume you. And when you have nothing left to burn, it will discard you for the next broken soul. Wanda looked back at the ocean. You're still here. The Emperor hasn't discarded you, because I am useful. The moment I cease to be, Palpatine will replace me without hesitation. Vader paused. He will do the same to you. You are not a person to him. You are a resource to be exploited. Why are you telling me this? Aren't you supposed to be his loyal attack dog? Vader's hands gripped the railing with enough force to dent the metal. Because I remember Padme. I remember making the same choice you're making now. And I remember the moment I realized I had destroyed everything I meant to save. The name meant nothing to Wanda, but the pain behind it was unmistakable. She reached out with her chaos magic, not to attack, but to sense. Beneath Vader's armor was a man held together by machinery and hate. A man who had burned and been rebuilt. A man who had lost so much that death would be a mercy. I'm sorry, she said, and meant it. Save your sympathy, and do not make my mistakes. But even as he said it, Vader knew she wouldn't listen. He had felt her emotions through the Force. The desperation, the anger, the bargaining with reality itself. She was exactly where Anakin Skywalker had been on Mustafar all those years ago. And like him, she would fall. The only question was how much of the galaxy she would take with her. On Coruscant, Palpatine communed with ancient Sith holocrons, studying texts that predated the Rule of Two. He was learning about reality manipulation, about the spaces between universes, about powers that existed beyond the Force itself. The Scarlet Witch was more valuable than he had imagined. With her abilities and his knowledge, they could do more than conquer one galaxy. They could conquer all realities. The disturbance reached the Rebel Alliance through 1,000 whispered warnings. On Yavin 4th, Senator Mon Mothma received reports from scattered intelligence cells. The Empire had acquired a new operative, someone with abilities that defied explanation, someone who could unmake matter with a gesture. Another Inquisitor, General Dodonna asked, studying the holographic display of fragmentary information. No. Mon Mothma's expression was troubled. The reports describe something different. Witnesses say she destroyed a lightsaber without touching it, reformed a collapsed building with a wave of her hand. The Force sensitives in our network are unanimous. She doesn't feel like a Force user at all. Princess Leia Organa leaned forward. If the Empire has access to a new type of weapon, we need to understand it. Or neutralize it. Neutralize? Bail Organa shook his head at his daughter. We're not assassins, Leia. We're also not fools. If this woman is as powerful as the reports suggest, she could single-handedly crush the rebellion. Leia turned to Mon Mothma. We need eyes on her. We need to know what the Emperor is planning. Which was how Cassian Andor found himself on Coruscant 3 days later, tracking an Imperial shuttle that carried Wanda Maximoff through the planet city's glittering canyons of steel and light. Cassian was one of the rebellion's best intelligence officers, patient, ruthless when necessary, and willing to do the dark work that idealists pretended didn't exist. He'd watched the shuttle land at a private Imperial facility in the Works District, an industrial zone where few questions were asked. He'd tracked the woman in the red jacket as she walked alone through abandoned factories, seemingly exploring. What he couldn't do was get close. Every time he tried to narrow the distance, his instincts screamed danger. It was like approaching a reactor about to go critical. Every nerve in his body knew that one wrong move meant death. Wanda wasn't exploring. She was hunting. Palpatine had given her a target, a cell of Jedi sympathizers hiding in the works. protecting a family whose son had manifested Force abilities. The Empire's Inquisitors had tried to extract them twice and failed. The cell had a former Jedi Knight named Wanda Vision protecting them, and he was skilled enough to kill Purge troopers. But against someone who could rewrite reality? Wanda told herself this was pragmatic. The Emperor would give her access to Sith holocrons that might contain dimensional knowledge. All she had to do was prove her commitment. One mission, one group of rebels who had apparently murdered Imperial personnel. It was a fair trade. She could feel them ahead, life signs warm and frightened. The family was hiding in a tenement basement. She descended the stairs and her chaos magic rippled outward like sonar, mapping the space. 3 adults, 1 child, and someone else. Someone radiating that same strange energy she'd felt from Vader and the Inquisitors. "Stop there!" a voice called from the darkness. A man emerged, middle-aged with gray temples and worn robes. His lightsaber ignited. Green, not red. "I am Wanda Vision, once of the Jedi Order. You are trespassing on sovereign territory." "Sovereign?" Wanda almost laughed. "The Empire controls Coruscant. You're squatters hiding in ruins. The Empire is a cancer that will be excised. The Force will bring balance. I don't care about your Force or your balance." Wanda's eyes began to glow red. "I care about getting what I came for. Leave now, and I'll tell the Emperor you escaped." Wanda Vision's expression hardened. "You're the one the Inquisitors speak of, the reality bender. They say you sold your soul to Palpatine." "I didn't have to sell anything. I gave it away for free a long time ago." Wanda raised her hand. "Last chance." The Jedi attacked. He was fast, faster than any human should be, and his lightsaber carved glowing arcs through the air. But Wanda had fought enhanced beings before. She gestured and his blade froze mid-swing, held in place by invisible force. Another gesture, and Wanda Vision slammed into the ceiling, then the floor, then the wall in rapid succession. From the shadows, Cassian watched through his rifle scope. He'd seen combat, he'd seen war, but this was something else. The woman wasn't just winning, she was playing with her opponent. The Jedi's every move was countered before it began. His force pushes dissipated against her red energy. His precognition meant nothing against someone who could change reality itself. Wanda Vision landed in a broken heap, his lightsaber rolling away. "The Force will never abandon me." "Your Force abandoned you the moment the Emperor took power," Wanda said coldly. "You lost. Accept it." Behind Wanda Vision, a woman emerged from the basement doorway. Late 20s, desperation in her eyes. "Please, please don't hurt him. We have a child. He's only 6 years old. He didn't ask for this power. We just want to protect him." Wanda froze. 6 years old. Billy and Tommy's age when she created Westview. When she had built an entire reality around them because she couldn't face a world where they didn't exist. "Where is he?" she heard herself ask. The woman hesitated, then stepped aside. A small Twi'lek boy peered out from behind her, his blue skin pale with fear. His hands sparked with electricity, untrained Force lightning that could kill him as easily as his enemies. Wanda looked at the child, saw Billy's face, saw Tommy's smile, saw every moment she would never have again, and felt something crack inside her chest. "Go," she whispered. "What?" the mother breathed. "Take your child and go. Leave Coruscant. Get as far from Imperial space as you can." Wanda turned to Wanda Vision. "If you can stand, get them out, now!" The Jedi struggled to his feet, confused. "Why? The Emperor will never know you were here, because no one was here. This building was empty. I searched it thoroughly and found nothing." Wanda's eyes blazed with red light. "But if I ever see any of you again, I won't be merciful twice, understand?" They understood. Within minutes, they had vanished into Coruscant's endless warrens. Wanda stood alone in the empty tenement, trembling. What had she done? She'd had orders. She'd had a deal, and she'd thrown it away for a child that wasn't hers, protecting strangers who meant nothing to her. No, they meant something. They meant she wasn't completely lost yet. "That was either very brave or very stupid," a voice said behind her. Wanda spun, chaos magic blazing. Cassian stood in the doorway, hands carefully visible and empty. Easy. I'm not here to fight. Then what do you want? To talk. My name is Cassian Andor. I work with people who oppose the Empire. He took a careful step forward. We've been watching you. We know Palpatine has his claws in you. But what you just did, that doesn't sound like someone who's fully committed to his cause. You don't know anything about me. I know you're looking for something. Children, according to the reports. The Empire promised to help you find them. Cassian's expression was earnest. But Palpatine lies. It's what he does best. Whatever he's promised you, he's never going to deliver. And I suppose your rebellion will help me out of the goodness of your hearts? Wanda's laugh was bitter. No, we'd help you because we could use someone with your abilities. And because unlike the Empire, we don't throw people away when they're no longer useful. Cassian extended his hand. Come with me. Meet the people fighting for freedom. Then decide who deserves your loyalty. Wanda stared at his hand. Part of her wanted to incinerate him for the presumption. Part of her wanted to collapse and admit she had no idea what she was doing. Part of her wanted to scream that she didn't care about freedom or empires or rebellions. She just wanted her children back. Instead, she created a small chaos magic construct between them. A red butterfly that fluttered in the stale air. I'll think about it, but tell your people this. I'm nobody's weapon, not the Empire's, not the rebellions. I do what I want, when I want. Fair enough. Cassian watched the butterfly dissolve. But when Palpatine tightens the leash and you realize you're in a cage, remember you had a choice. He left as quietly as he'd arrived, and Wanda was alone with her thoughts. She could feel the dark side even now, whispering that she'd been weak, that she should have killed the rebels and earned the Emperor's knowledge. That mercy was a luxury she couldn't afford. But for the first time since arriving in this galaxy, she'd felt something other than grief and anger. She'd felt human. It wouldn't last. She knew it wouldn't last. But for now, for this moment, it was enough. The Emperor's throne room felt colder than usual when Wanda returned. She walked the long approach with her head high, ready for accusations or punishment. But Palpatine merely smiled. You let them escape, he said mildly. No point in lying. Yes. The child reminded you of your sons. Yes. Palpatine stood and descended from his throne, his movements fluid despite his age. Do you know what I appreciate about you, Wanda? You don't waste time with deception. So many who serve me wear masks of loyalty while plotting betrayal. You make no such pretense. I failed your mission. Aren't you going to punish me? Punish? Palpatine chuckled. My dear child, that family was irrelevant. Wollobin was a minor nuisance at best. I sent you after them to see what you would do when confronted with innocence. To understand your limits, he circled her slowly, and I learned something valuable. You still possess a conscience. How inconvenient. Wanda's hands clenched. If you want a mindless weapon, you chose the wrong person. On the contrary, I want exactly what you are. Someone powerful enough to reshape reality, but still bound by sentiment. Because sentiment is predictable, manipulable. Palpatine stopped in front of her, and his yellow eyes seemed to pierce her soul. The Jedi failed because they denied emotion. The old Sith failed because they were consumed by it. But you, Wanda Maximoff, you exist in the perfect middle ground. You feel deeply, yet you're willing to do terrible things when properly motivated. Get to the point. The point is that I'm going to give you what you want. No more tests. No more missions. Palpatine produced a small holocron from his robes, a dark crystal pyramid that pulsed with malevolent energy. This contains the collected knowledge of Darth Plagueis, my former master. He studied the manipulation of life itself, the creation and prevention of death, the boundaries between realities. Wanda's breath caught. You're giving me this? I'm giving you access to it. Under supervision, of course. Palpatine placed the holocron in her hands. But first, you must understand what you're asking for. The knowledge within is dangerous. It requires strength, not just of power, but of will. Many who have accessed it went mad. I've held the Darkhold. I've dream-walked through realities. I've survived worse than any holocron. Have you? Palpatine's expression grew serious. The Darkhold was a crutch, a tool that did the work for you. This he tapped the holocron, requires you to touch the dark side directly, to let it flow through you, to embrace what you've been resisting since you arrived in this galaxy. Wanda felt the holocron's weight in her hands. It was heavier than it should be, as if gravity itself was warped around it. And from within, she could feel something watching her, hungry, patient. What do you mean, embrace it? The dark side is not what the Jedi claimed, simple evil or corruption. It is passion. It is life unrestrained by artificial morality. It is the acknowledgement that power should be used, not hoarded, that love justifies any sacrifice. Palpatine's voice dropped to a hypnotic cadence. You already understand this. Every time you rewrote reality to protect your illusion, every time you killed to defend what you loved, every time you chose your children over the needs of others, you were already walking the path of the dark side. You simply called it by other names. No, I was grieving. I made mistakes. You made choices, honest ones. The only mistake was allowing others to convince you that those choices were wrong. Palpatine placed both hands on her shoulders. Open the holocron, Wanda. Learn its secrets. Find your children. And stop apologizing for being what you are. Powerful, dangerous, and unwilling to let the universe dictate your fate. Wanda stared at the holocron. She could activate it right now, could access knowledge that might finally give her the answers she needed. All she had to do was let go, stop fighting, except that she'd been heading toward this moment since Westview, since the Darkhold, since she'd first heard Billy and Tommy calling to her across the multiverse. Her thumb found the activation point on the holocron's surface. Red light erupted around her, but not from the holocron. Her chaos magic blazed in response to the dark side energy, and the two powers collided in the space between her hands. Reality itself seemed to crack. For an instant, she saw through the fractures, other universes, other timelines, other versions of herself making other choices. In one, she found Billy and Tommy and lived quietly, never using her power again. In another, she destroyed the entire Marvel multiverse in her grief. In a third, she became something beyond hero or villain, a force of nature that simply was. And in this one, this timeline, she stood in an emperor's throne room, about to make a choice that would define everything that came next. I can feel them, she whispered. Through the cracks, they're calling to me. Then answer, Palpatine urged. Let the dark side guide you to them. Wanda closed her eyes, opened herself fully to the sensations flooding through her. The holocron's dark energy, her chaos magic, the strange living force that permeated this galaxy. And beneath it all, faint but undeniable, the psychic echo of two children who shared her soul. Mommy, where are you? Billy's voice. She would know it across any distance, any barrier. We're scared. It's dark here. Tommy, her brave, reckless, beautiful boy. I'm coming, she breathed. I'm coming for you. I promise. The holocron activated fully in her hands, and knowledge poured into her mind like poison and honey mixed together. She saw techniques for manipulating life energy, for tearing holes in reality, for binding souls to vessels, for transcending death itself. And beneath it all, she felt the dark side's embrace, warm, accepting, eager. It felt like coming home to a place she'd never been. Her eyes opened, and they glowed with red energy mixed with something darker, Sith yellow bleeding into the crimson of chaos magic. When she spoke, her voice carried harmonics that shouldn't exist. Show me everything. Palpatine's smile could have lit planets on fire. As you wish, my dear apprentice. Across the galaxy, Vader felt the disturbance and knew that Wanda Maximoff had taken her first step into darkness. He had warned her. He had tried to show her where this path led. But like Anakin before her, she had chosen power over wisdom, passion over peace. The Scarlet Witch had fallen, and soon the galaxy would burn in colors it had never seen before. The rebel base on Yavin 4 hummed with controlled chaos. X-Wing pilots running diagnostics, intelligence officers analyzing Imperial communications, strategists updating holographic battle maps. In a secure briefing room, Cassian Andor stood before the Alliance leadership and delivered his report. She let them go, he said simply. Had them dead to rights, could have killed everyone in that building. Instead, she warned them to run. Mon Mothma exchanged glances with Bail Organa. That doesn't sound like someone committed to the Empire. It doesn't sound like someone we can trust either, Leia countered. She still went there to hunt them. She still serves Palpatine. One moment of conscience doesn't erase that. She's conflicted, Cassian insisted. I saw it in her eyes. She's looking for something, her children, apparently. And Palpatine is using that to control her. But the leash isn't tight yet. If we could reach her, offer her real help instead of manipulation. We can't help her find children in another universe, General Dodonna interrupted. We barely have the resources to fight the Empire in this one. A new voice spoke from the doorway. Perhaps we don't need to find her children. We need only convince her that Palpatine cannot. Everyone turned. A figure in worn Jedi robes entered, his hood falling back to reveal an aged but sharp-eyed man with a graying beard. Obi-Wan Kenobi had returned from his exile on Tatooine, summoned by Bail Organa's urgent message about a new threat. Master Kenobi, Mon Mothma said with genuine relief, we weren't sure you'd come. I sensed a disturbance in the Force. Something. Obi-Wan struggled for words. Not of the Force, yet touching it, like a wound in reality itself. I had to investigate. Leia leaned forward. You're talking about the woman, the Scarlet Witch. If that's what she's called, yes. I've felt her presence growing darker by the day. Palpatine is corrupting her, just as he corrupted Anakin. Obi-Wan's expression was haunted. I failed my apprentice. I won't fail her if there's any chance of redemption. She's not a Jedi, Cassian pointed out. She doesn't use the Force. Her power is something else entirely, which makes her even more dangerous in Palpatine's hands. He seeks to understand all forms of power, to twist them to his purposes. Obi-Wan activated a holographic recorder, showing footage captured by rebel spies. Wanda destroying the lightsaber, warping reality around her, moving with power that defied physical laws. If she fully embraces the dark side while retaining these abilities, she could become unstoppable. Then we kill her before that happens, Leia said flatly. No. Obi-Wan's voice carried absolute authority. Assassination creates martyrs and eliminates possibilities. This woman is in pain, profound, soul-deep pain. The dark side feeds on such anguish, but it can also be overcome. I would speak with her, alone. That's suicide, Bail protested. Ben, you can't. I've hidden long enough. Luke isn't ready to begin his training, and the galaxy cannot wait for perfect circumstances. Obi-Wan's jaw set with determination. I will go to Coruscant. I will find her, and I will try to save her from Vader's fate. On Coruscant, in a meditation chamber deep within the Imperial Palace, Wanda floated cross-legged in the air, surrounded by spiraling fractals of red and black energy. The holocron hung before her, projecting Darth Plagueis' teachings directly into her mind. She'd been studying for 3 days without sleep, without food, sustained purely by chaos magic and dark purpose. The knowledge was overwhelming. Centuries of Sith experimentation, forbidden techniques, theories about the nature of reality that made her head spin. But buried within it all were fragments of what she needed. Dimensional coordinates, resonance patterns, ways to attune herself to the psychic signatures of beings across the multiverse. Plagueis had been obsessed with creating life, but his research had touched on something more fundamental, the connections between souls across infinite realities. Mommy, please hurry. The voices were stronger now, clearer. She could almost see their faces through the static of dimensional barriers. I'm trying, she whispered to the empty chamber. I'm learning. I'm getting closer. But the price was becoming apparent. Each day she spent immersed in darkside knowledge. Each technique she absorbed, she felt herself changing. Her emotions were sharper. Anger came quicker. Grief cut deeper. Joy felt manic and unstable. The chaos magic that had always been part of her was growing hungrier, more aggressive, harder to control. She was becoming something new, something dangerous. The chamber doors hissed open. Vader entered without announcement. You should rest, he said. Even the most powerful Force users require recovery time. Wanda didn't open her eyes. I don't have time. Every moment I waste, they're alone, scared, waiting for me. They have waited this long. They will wait longer. Vader approached until he stood just outside her energy field. The Emperor is pleased with your progress. Too pleased. That made her open her eyes. What do you mean? Palpatine never gives without taking more in return. He's allowing you to access this knowledge because he wants to see what you'll become when fully immersed in darkness. Vader's respirator wheezed. You are his experiment, his pet project. And when you've served your purpose, he'll discard me. You've said this before. Wanda lowered herself to the ground, the energy dissipating. But here's what you don't understand. I don't care. Once I have what I need to reach Billy and Tommy, I'm gone. This galaxy, the Empire, the rebellion, all of it, it means nothing to me. That's what I told myself, Vader said quietly, that I only served the Emperor to save Padme, that once she was safe, I would be free. But the dark side doesn't release its grip so easily. Every day you spend touching it, every technique you master, you bind yourself more tightly to this galaxy and its conflicts. Then I'll break those binds. I've broken reality itself. I can break anything. Vader was silent for a long moment. Padme was pregnant when she died. Twins. I didn't know until years later, when the Emperor revealed he'd hidden the truth from me. My children lived, and I spent 2 decades hunting Jedi, while they grew up believing I was their greatest enemy. Wanda felt the grief radiating from him. Where are they now? One is dead, killed by Palpatine's agents while I stood by and did nothing, because I had been so corrupted that I couldn't see the truth even when it stood before me. Vader's hands clenched. The other is in hiding. I've been searching for him for years, wanting to... I don't even know. Apologize? Explain? There are no words for what I've done. Why are you telling me this? Because you still have a choice. You haven't yet done something unforgivable. You haven't yet become a monster. Vader turned away. But you're closer than you think. And the moment you cross that line, you'll spend the rest of your life searching for a way back that doesn't exist. He left her alone with those words, and Wanda sat in the darkness, trembling. She wanted to dismiss his warnings, wanted to believe she was different, stronger, more in control. But deep down, she could feel the truth of what he'd said. The dark side was seeping into her bones, changing her, and she was letting it happen because the alternative was admitting she might never find her children at all. Her hands glowed with red and black energy, chaos magic corrupted by Sith teachings. She stared at them, watching the colors swirl together, and wondered which one was consuming the other. Somewhere in the Force, Obi-Wan felt her despair and accelerated his preparations. He would need help for this mission. Someone who understood grief and redemption. Someone who had walked close to darkness and chosen the light. He sent a coded message to Ahsoka Tano, hoping she would answer, hoping there was still time to save Wanda Maximoff from herself. In his throne room, Palpatine watched through the Force as Wanda's corruption deepened. Soon, very soon, she would be ready for the final test, the moment when she would have to choose between her children and her conscience. And he already knew which she would choose. They always chose love, and love, properly exploited, was the most reliable path to damnation ever discovered. The warehouse district of Coruscant's lower levels was a labyrinth of abandoned factories and forgotten infrastructure, perfect territory for those who wanted to avoid Imperial attention. Obi-Wan moved through the shadows like a ghost, his presence in the Force suppressed to almost nothing. Beside him, Ahsoka Tano matched his stealth, her twin lightsabers silent on her belt. "You're certain she'll come here?" Ahsoka asked quietly. The Force is guiding her to this place, though she doesn't realize it yet. She's searching for something, a dimensional anchor point. Coruscant's lower levels contain ore deposits that resonate with unusual energy signatures. Obi-Wan paused at an intersection. If her powers work as I suspect, she'll be drawn here. And if she decides to kill us instead of talk, then we'll have our answer about whether she can still be saved. They didn't have to wait long. Wanda appeared at the far end of the corridor, her red jacket standing out against the industrial gray. She stopped when she saw them, and her hands immediately blazed with chaos magic. "Who are you?" she demanded. Obi-Wan stepped forward, hands visibly empty and raised. "My name is Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is Ahsoka Tano. We're not here to fight you. You're Jedi." The contempt in Wanda's voice was sharp. "I've heard all about your order from the Emperor. Self-righteous, dogmatic failures who tried to control the galaxy. And what has the Emperor told you about himself?" Ahsoka asked, her leku twitching with irritation. "That he's a benevolent leader? That the Empire brings peace? I don't care about your politics. Get out of my way." Obi-Wan didn't move. "You're looking for dimensional boundaries, places where the barriers between realities are thin. But what you're really looking for, your children, they're not where you think they are." Wanda froze. "How do you know about my children?" "The Force reveals many things to those who listen, and your pain echoes across it like a scream." Obi-Wan's expression was compassionate. "I know what Palpatine has promised you. I know he's shown you ancient Sith knowledge about manipulating life and reality. But Wanda, he's lying. He cannot help you find your children. You don't know that. I know him. I've watched him corrupt good people for decades. He corrupted my apprentice, Anakin Skywalker, who became Darth Vader. He corrupted the entire Republic from within, and now he's corrupting you, using your love as a weapon against yourself." Wanda's eyes flickered with rage and doubt. "Vader warned me you'd try this, said the Jedi would attempt to manipulate me with talk of redemption and light." "Vader speaks from experience," Obi-Wan said sadly. "He fell because he believed Palpatine could save someone he loved. The Emperor promised him the power to prevent death, to protect Padme. Instead, Anakin became the instrument of her destruction. Love twisted into possession, desperation into damnation. I'm not Vader. No, you're more powerful, which makes you more dangerous, to yourself and everyone else." Ahsoka stepped forward. "I left the Jedi Order because I saw its flaws. I'm not asking you to join some cause or follow some code. I'm asking you to stop and think about what you're becoming." Wanda laughed bitterly. "What I'm becoming? I've been a monster since I was 10 years old. A Stark Industries missile killed my parents, and I spent days staring at a second bomb that didn't explode. That fear, that anger, it's what gave me my powers. I was forged in trauma. The dark side isn't corrupting me. It's revealing what was always there. That's what it wants you to believe," Obi-Wan said. "But trauma doesn't define us. Our choices do. You've already made one good choice, letting that family escape on Coruscant. That proves you're not the monster you think you are. That was weakness, sentimentality. The Emperor says what serves his purposes." Obi-Wan's voice carried sudden intensity. "Listen to what you just said. You're quoting Palpatine to justify your actions. When did his voice become yours?" Wanda opened her mouth to respond, then stopped. When had she started thinking like this? When had mercy become weakness? When had the Emperor's philosophy started feeling like her own thoughts? The answer terrified her. She didn't know. "I can feel the dark side in you," Ahsoka said more gently. "It's like a stain spreading through the Force, but it hasn't consumed you completely yet. You can still choose differently." "Choose what? To give up on my children? To abandon the only path I've found that might lead to them?" Wanda's voice cracked. "You have no idea what it's like. Every night I hear them calling. Every morning I wake up knowing they're out there somewhere, alone and scared. How can you ask me to stop searching?" "I'm not," Obi-Wan said. "I'm asking you to search differently, without Palpatine's poison in your ear, without the dark side clouding your judgment. And how exactly would you help me? You can't even access other dimensions. Your force is limited to this galaxy. But your power isn't, and perhaps that's the answer. You don't need Sith knowledge or dark side corruption to reach your children. You need to trust your own abilities, uncorrupted by Palpatine's manipulation." Obi-Wan extended his hand. "Come with us. Let us help you find a way forward that doesn't require selling your soul." For a moment, just a moment, Wanda wanted to take his hand, wanted to believe there was another path, wanted to think she could find Billy and Tommy without becoming something unrecognizable. Then the darkness whispered, "They're lying. They want to weaken you, to make you give up. Only through power can you reach your children. Only through the dark side can you transcend the barriers keeping you apart." And the terrible thing was, She couldn't tell if the voice was external or her own thoughts anymore. "No," she said quietly. "I've come too far, sacrificed too much. I won't stop now just because you're uncomfortable with my methods." "This isn't about comfort," Ahsoka said urgently. "This is about survival. The path you're on ends in destruction, yours and everyone else's. Then everyone should stay out of my way." Wanda released a wave of chaos magic that sent both Jedi flying backward. Before they could recover, she tore a hole in space itself, not to another dimension, but creating a portal across Coruscant. She stepped through and vanished. Obi-Wan climbed to his feet, helping Ahsoka up. "She's further gone than I thought, but not completely lost. Did you see her hesitation? She wanted to believe us." Ahsoka brushed dust from her clothes. "We need to try again. Find proof that Palpatine is lying to her." "Proof?" Obi-Wan's expression was troubled. "What if he's not lying? What if he genuinely can help her access other dimensions? The Sith studied powers the Jedi never dared touch. If he succeeds, then we'll have a dark side user who can rewrite reality across the multiverse." Ahsoka's face hardened. "We can't let that happen, Master. Even if it means—" She didn't finish the sentence, but both knew what she meant. If Wanda couldn't be saved, she would have to be stopped, by any means necessary. Wanda emerged from her portal in the Imperial Palace, breathing hard. The encounter had shaken her more than she wanted to admit. The Jedi's words kept echoing. When did his voice become yours? She made her way to her quarters, needing space to think. But Palpatine was already there, waiting in the shadows. "I felt your conflict," he said without preamble. "The Jedi found you. They tried to turn me against you. And did they succeed?" Wanda met his yellow eyes. "No, I'm still here. But you wavered. You questioned." Palpatine's smile was understanding rather than angry. "That's natural, my dear. The light side speaks sweetly of peace and restraint. It offers comfort, but comfort won't bring back your children." "I know. Do you? Because I wonder if you're truly committed to this path, or if you're simply playing at darkness while keeping one foot in the light." Palpatine produced another holocron, this one pulsing with even darker energy. "It's time to prove yourself, Wanda. Time to show me, and yourself, that you're willing to do whatever it takes." "What do you want me to do?" "The rebellion is planning an operation. They're evacuating Force-sensitive children from an Imperial facility on Wobani, a prison world where we hold those too dangerous or too valuable to simply execute." Palpatine's voice was silky smooth. "I want you to stop them. Kill the rebels. Secure the children. Prove that your mercy was an aberration, not a pattern." "Children," Wanda repeated. "You want me to use children as bait? I want you to protect Imperial assets and eliminate terrorists. What you see when you look at them, whether you see resources or innocence, that will tell us both who you've truly become." Wanda stood at the crossroads, the weight of the decision crushing down on her shoulders. Refuse and lose access to the knowledge she needed. Comply and become exactly what the Jedi had accused her of being. There was no good choice, no path that didn't lead to damnation. So she made the only choice left, the one that brought her closer to her children, no matter the cost. "I'll go to Wobani." Palpatine's smile could have frozen stars. "Excellent. Your shuttle leaves in 2 hours." As Wanda left to prepare, Vader emerged from an adjacent chamber. "She will break," he told the Emperor. "Perhaps, or perhaps she will exceed all expectations." Palpatine gazed at the holocron. "Either way, we will learn what a corrupted Scarlet Witch can truly do. And that knowledge, Lord Vader, is worth any price." Wobani was a gray world. Gray skies, gray stone, gray hope. The Imperial prison facility squatted on its surface like a cancerous growth, housing thousands of beings whose only crime was being born different. Inside its walls, children who had manifested Force abilities were held in detention cells, awaiting processing. Some would be turned into inquisitors. Others would simply disappear. The rebel extraction team had spent weeks planning this operation. 20 commandos led by Cassian Andor, supported by 2 Jedi sympathizers, and a defector who knew the facility's layout. They would breach the eastern wing, extract 15 children being held there, and evacuate before Imperial reinforcements arrived. It was a good plan. It should have worked. Wanda materialized on Wabani's surface in a crackle of red energy, bypassing all conventional transportation. The holocron Palpatine had given her hung at her belt, its dark whispers constant in her mind. She could feel the children inside the facility, their fear, their confusion, their desperate hope for rescue. She could feel the rebels too, their determination, their willingness to die for these children. They're the enemy, she told herself. They killed Imperial personnel. They destabilized the galaxy. They're obstacles between you and your sons. But the words felt hollow. The truth was darker and more honest. She was doing this because refusing would mean losing everything. Not because it was right, not because she believed in the Empire's cause, simply because she had sold herself so completely that there was no backing out now. The dark side purred approval. Honest self-interest is stronger than false virtue. Use your power. Take what you need. Everything else is irrelevant. Inside the facility, alarms blared. The rebels had breached the eastern wing and were moving toward the detention cells. Cassian led the team with practiced efficiency, his blaster dropping guards with precision shots. They'd encountered resistance, but nothing they couldn't handle. Then the walls started bleeding red energy. "What the hell?" one commando started, before the floor beneath him liquefied and resolidified, trapping him up to his waist in solid durasteel. Wanda walked through a wall as if it didn't exist, reality parting before her like a curtain. She surveyed the rebel team with cold eyes that flickered between red and Sith yellow. "Leave now," she said quietly. "Take your people and go. This is your only warning." Cassian recognized her immediately. "You can't do this. They're children. So were my sons. The universe didn't care about that." One of the Jedi sympathizers, a Zabrak woman named Sulin, ignited her green lightsaber. "The Force is with us. You cannot—" Wanda gestured, and the lightsaber shattered. Another gesture, and Sulin was lifted off the ground, held in place by invisible force. "Your force means nothing to me. I've killed gods. You're just people with glowing swords." "Then kill me," Sulin gasped, "but let the children go." For a moment, Wanda hesitated. The Zabrak's willingness to die reminded her of Pietro, her brother who had taken bullets meant for Clint Barton, sacrificing everything for someone he barely knew. That had been heroism, nobility, everything Wanda had once aspired to be. What was she now? The moment of hesitation cost her. Cassian fired his blaster, not at Wanda, but at the ceiling supports. The corridor collapsed, separating Wanda from the rebels. They ran toward the detention cells while she was forced to reality warp her way through the rubble. By the time she reached the cell block, the rebels had already freed the children. 15 force-sensitive beings ranging from toddlers to teenagers, dozens of species, all terrified and confused. The extraction team was moving them toward their escape route when Wanda appeared at the corridor's end, blocking their path. "Please," Cassian said, and there was genuine desperation in his voice. "If you ever had children, if you ever loved anyone, don't do this. I love my children more than anything in this universe or any other," Wanda said, her voice shaking. "And I will burn 1,000 galaxies to ash if that's what it takes to reach them again." She raised her hands, chaos magic spiraling outward. But as the energy built, she looked at the children's faces, saw their terror, saw herself reflected in their eyes, not as a hero or protector, but as the monster parents used to frighten their young into obedience. "Mommy, I'm scared," Billy's voice echoing from memory. "Make it stop, Mommy." Tommy's plea from a nightmare she'd once soothed away. What would her sons think if they could see her now? Would they recognize the woman who sang them lullabies? Who made breakfast with magic and tucked them in with stories? Or would they see what everyone else saw? A creature of rage and grief wearing their mother's face. The chaos magic wavered, dimmed. "I can't," Wanda whispered. "I can't do this." Behind her, a slow, deliberate clap echoed through the corridor. Palpatine emerged from the shadows, flanked by a squad of death troopers. "How very predictable. I had hoped you were stronger, Wanda, more committed, but you're just another sentimentalist who crumbles when faced with real choices." Wanda spun to face him. You knew I couldn't. I knew you would fail. Palpatine's disappointment was palpable. Just as I knew you would blame me for your weakness rather than accepting responsibility for it. The dark side requires will, Wanda. Conviction. You possess neither. No. Wanda's eyes blazed pure red. I possess something you've never understood. The knowledge that some lines shouldn't be crossed. Some prices are too high. And I'm done paying them for you. She unleashed her chaos magic, not at the rebels or children, but at Palpatine himself. Reality warped, space twisted, and for an instant, the Emperor's carefully maintained shields of darkside energy faltered. Everyone run, Cassian shouted, and the rebels scattered with the children, racing for their extraction point. Palpatine steadied himself, and his yellow eyes gleamed with something between fury and fascination. You dare attack me? Me? I have commanded the dark side for longer than your pathetic universe has existed. Force lightning erupted from his fingertips, not the controlled bolts he used for intimidation, but the full devastating power of a Sith Lord at his peak. The energy should have incinerated Wanda instantly. Instead, her chaos magic absorbed it, drank it in, and reflected it back amplified. The two powers collided in a maelstrom that tore apart the prison facility around them. Walls crumbled, the ceiling collapsed. Reality itself seemed to scream at the impossible conflict. You cannot defeat me, girl, Palpatine snarled. I have mastered death itself, and I've rewritten reality itself. Wanda's voice carried harmonics that didn't belong in this dimension. You wanted to see what I could do? Let me show you. She reached deep into her chaos magic, deeper than she'd ever gone before, and touched something fundamental. The fabric of this galaxy, the underlying structure that the Force flowed through. And she began to tear it. Across Coruscant, every Force-sensitive being in the galaxy suddenly felt it. A wrongness spreading like a virus. Obi-Wan gasped and nearly fell. Ahsoka cried out in pain. Even Vader, deep in his meditation chamber, felt the Force itself beginning to unravel. On Wobani, Palpatine realized his mistake. He had pushed her too far, too fast, had assumed her grief made her controllable. But grief was just frozen rage, and when it thawed, it could drown worlds. Stop, he commanded, all pretense of manipulation gone. You'll destroy everything. Good. Wanda was crying now, tears streaming down her face as she tore at reality with increasing fury. Everything she'd held back, the rage at losing her parents, at Pietro's death, at Vision's murder, at the loss of Billy and Tommy, at the universe's endless cruelty. It all poured out in a wave of destructive chaos magic that threatened to unmake existence itself. Then a single voice cut through the maelstrom. Wanda, stop. She turned. Vader stood in the wreckage, his armor scorched by the energies swirling through the facility. He had rushed to Wobani the moment he felt the disturbance, knowing what was about to happen. Don't do this, Vader said quietly. Don't become what I became. Don't destroy everything because you cannot save what you love. Get away from me. I can't, because if you do this, if you let your grief consume the galaxy, you'll never forgive yourself, and you'll never find your children, because you'll be too broken to recognize them even if you succeed. Wanda's power flickered. How would you know? Because I killed Padme with my own hands while trying to save her. Because I spent 20 years as a monster, telling myself it was justified. Because I know exactly where this path ends, and I will not let you walk it. Vader extended his hand, not in violence, but in offering. Come back from the edge. There is still time. For a long, terrible moment, Wanda stood poised between destruction and redemption. The chaos magic churned around her, reality bending and breaking at her fury. She could end it all right now, could tear this galaxy apart and search the fragments for a way home, or she could stop, could admit she'd been wrong, could face the unbearable truth that maybe, just maybe, there was no path to Billy and Tommy that didn't require her to become something they would fear. Slowly trembling, she lowered her hands. The chaos magic dissipated, reality stabilized. The Force, wounded but intact, breathed a galaxy-wide sigh of relief. Wanda collapsed to her knees, sobbing. I can't find them. I've tried everything, and I can't find them. Vader approached and awkwardly placed a hand on her shoulder. "I know." Palpatine, recovering from his shock, began to gather power for a killing strike. But before he could attack, a rebel ship dropped out of hyperspace above them, its weapons hot. Cassian's voice crackled over comms. "We're clear. Extraction team is away. Republic forces inbound in 3 minutes." The Emperor calculated rapidly. Wanda had proven both more powerful and less controllable than anticipated. Killing her would waste her potential. Imprisoning her was impossible. The only option was tactical retreat and reassessment. "This isn't over," Palpatine said to Wanda. "You've made your choice, but choices have consequences." He vanished in a swirl of dark-side energy, teleporting via forbidden techniques to his waiting Star Destroyer. Vader looked at the rebel ship, then at Wanda. "You need to leave, now. Before he returns with force you cannot resist." "Why are you helping me?" "Because I see Anakin Skywalker in you, the good man who still existed before I killed him." Vader's respirator wheezed. "Go. Find another way to reach your children, one that doesn't require damnation." Wanda stood on shaking legs. She looked at the rebel ship, then at the ruined prison, then at her own hands, still flickering with red energy but no longer tainted with Sith yellow. She had a choice to make: empire or rebellion, darkness or light, damnation or redemption, or perhaps something else entirely, a third path that belonged only to her. She tore open a portal, not to the rebel ship, not back to Coruscant, but to somewhere else, somewhere quiet where she could think, recover, and decide who she wanted to be. "Thank you," she told Vader. Then she was gone, leaving the Dark Lord of the Sith alone in the wreckage, wondering if he had just saved a life or doomed the galaxy. The moon of Atalon was a desolate place, red sands stretching to distant mesas, wind-carved rock formations, and skies that burned amber at sunset. It was far from major hyperspace lanes, forgotten by the Empire and ignored by the Rebellion. Perfect for someone who wanted to disappear. Wanda had been there for 6 days. She'd built a small shelter using chaos magic, warping stone and sand into something resembling the cabins she and Vision had planned to retire to. Before Thanos, before Westview, before everything fell apart. She spent her days meditating, trying to separate her own thoughts from the dark side's whispers, trying to find clarity in the confusion of what she'd become. The nights were harder. That's when she heard them. "Mommy, are you still looking for us?" Billy's voice, clearer than ever before. "It's so dark here, so cold." Tommy, frightened in a way he'd never been when she could hold him. She would wake from these dreams, or were they psychic echoes, with tears streaming down her face and chaos magic sparking uncontrollably around her hands. The line between reality and illusion had become dangerously thin. Sometimes she wasn't sure if she was on Adelon at all, or if this was another hex, another desperate fantasy her mind had constructed to avoid facing the truth. The truth that maybe her children didn't exist anywhere, that maybe they had been nothing but chaos magic given temporary form, wishes made flesh, beautiful lies she had told herself to avoid grief. No, she refused to believe that. They were real. They had to be real. On the 7th day, visitors arrived. Wanda sensed them before she saw them. 2 presences in the Force, approaching cautiously. She emerged from her shelter to find Obi-Wan and Ahsoka standing at the edge of the small plateau she'd claimed. "How did you find me?" she asked, not hostile but not welcoming either. "You left a trail through the Force," Obi-Wan said. "Wounded, searching, deeply conflicted. We followed it here. To finish what you started? Convince me to join your rebellion? To help you if you'll let us." Ahsoka stepped forward. "We heard about Wobani, about what you did, and more importantly, what you didn't do. You chose not to hurt those children. You stood up to Palpatine. That takes courage." Wanda laughed bitterly. "Courage? I almost tore apart reality because I couldn't handle my emotions. If Vader hadn't stopped me, but he did, and you listened." Obi-Wan's expression was gentle. "That's the difference between someone corrupted and someone struggling. The truly fallen don't hesitate, don't question, they simply act. I'm not some redemption project for you to feel good about. No, you're a being in pain who needs help. And despite what the Jedi Code used to say about attachment, I've learned that ignoring people's pain only makes it worse. Obi-Wan gestured to her shelter. May we sit? This conversation would be easier without standing in the sun. Something about his honest, tired demeanor made Wanda relent. They settled in the shade of her makeshift dwelling, and for a long moment, no one spoke. Finally, Ahsoka broke the silence. Tell us about your children. Not the search, the memories. Who were they? Wanda hadn't expected that question. She'd expected judgment, lectures, attempts to recruit her. Not genuine interest in Billy and Tommy as people. Billy was thoughtful, she heard herself say, always asking questions. Mom, why is the sky blue? Mom, where do stars go during the day? He wanted to understand everything. A small smile touched her lips. Tommy was wild, couldn't sit still, always running, always laughing. They balanced each other perfectly. They sound wonderful, Obi-Wan said softly. They were. They are. Wanda's voice hardened. They exist. Somewhere in the multiverse, they're real. I felt them. I heard them calling. I believe you, Ahsoka said, and Wanda's head snapped up in surprise. The Force contains multitudes, past, present, future, possible realities that never came to be. If your power operates on a similar principle, but across dimensions instead of time, then yes, versions of your children probably exist somewhere. But searching for them while corrupted by the dark side is like trying to navigate hyperspace while blind. You might reach them. You might also destroy everything, including the children you're trying to save. Ahsoka's nostrils twitched. The dark side doesn't want you to find your children, Wanda. It wants you to destroy yourself trying. So what do you suggest? Give up? No. Search smarter. Obi-Wan leaned forward. Your chaos magic, it's not dark or light. It simply is. Like the Force itself before sentient beings started categorizing it. But when you filter it through Sith teachings, through Palpatine's manipulation, you corrupt something that should be pure. Wanda looked at her hands. The chaos magic flickered there, still tinged with darkness from the holocrons she'd studied. How do I uncorrupt it? By understanding that grief doesn't have to become rage, that love doesn't require possession, that searching for what you've lost doesn't mean destroying what remains. Obi-Wan's voice carried hard-won wisdom. I lost my master, my apprentice, my entire order. I spent years on Tatooine, alone with my guilt and rage. I could have let the dark side consume me. Instead, I chose to remember the light. I'm not as strong as you. You're stronger, Ahsoka countered. You've already resisted Palpatine when he had his hooks deepest in you. Most people don't manage that. Wanda wanted to believe them, wanted to think there was a path forward that didn't require selling her soul or abandoning her children. But the dark side's whispers were insidious. They're trying to weaken you, to make you give up. Only through power can you reach Billy and Tommy. As if sensing her internal struggle, Obi-Wan said, "The dark side is still speaking to you. I can feel it. Every moment, it's like a voice in the back of my mind that sounds almost like me, but wrong, twisted. That's what corruption does. It makes evil sound reasonable, makes violence feel justified, makes you forget there were ever other options." Obi-Wan stood and walked to the edge of the plateau, looking out over Atalan's red deserts. But here's what I learned. The dark side is loudest when you're most vulnerable. And right now, Wanda Maximoff, you are incredibly vulnerable. So what do? You rest, you heal, you let the dark side's influence fade. Ahsoka stood as well. And you let us help you find another way to search for your children, one that doesn't require Palpatine's knowledge or Sith techniques. The rebellion has resources, Obi-Wan added, ancient Jedi texts that might reference dimensional phenomena, allies with unique perspectives on reality. It's not much, but it's honest help, with no strings attached. Wanda felt something crack inside her chest, some defensive wall she'd built to keep anyone from getting close enough to hurt her again. Why would you help me? I almost destroyed your galaxy. I worked with your greatest enemy. Because I failed Anakin, Obi-Wan said simply. I saw him falling and convinced myself it was his choice, his responsibility. I didn't reach out when I should have, didn't fight hard enough to save him. I won't make that mistake twice. And because you remind me of myself, Ahsoka added, I was so angry when I left the Jedi Order, felt betrayed, abandoned, lost. I could have gone dark so easily. If the right people hadn't been there at the right moments, she shrugged. You deserve those same moments, those same people. For the first time since arriving in this galaxy, Wanda felt something other than grief, rage, or desperation. She felt hope, small, fragile, terrifying, but real. I don't know if I can trust you, she admitted. That's fair, Obi-Wan said. Trust is earned, so let us earn it. Stay here, recover, and we'll return with what we found. No pressure, no demands, just possibilities. They turned to leave, heading back to their ship hidden in a nearby canyon. But Wanda called out, wait! They stopped. The holocrons I studied, the Sith techniques, if I truly let go of them, if I reject Palpatine's knowledge, I might lose my only chance to reach Billy and Tommy. Her voice shook. How do I choose between saving my soul and saving my children? Obi-Wan looked back at her, and his eyes held the weight of similar impossible choices. You don't. You refuse the false dichotomy. You find a third option, even if it takes years, even if it's harder, because the moment you sacrifice your soul for your children, you become someone they wouldn't recognize, someone who would frighten them. What if they don't exist anymore? What if I've been chasing ghosts? Then you'll grieve properly this time and eventually heal. But you'll do it as yourself, not as Palpatine's weapon or the dark side's puppet. Ahsoka's smile was sad but genuine. And that matters, Wanda. Who you are matters. They left her then, and Wanda stood alone on the red plateau as the sun set over alien deserts. She thought about Billy and Tommy, about Vision, about Pietro, about everyone she'd lost and every mistake she'd made trying to undo those losses. The dark side whispered that she was giving up, that she was weak, that her children would die alone in some distant dimension because she wasn't strong enough to save them. But for the first time, she had an answer to those whispers. No, I'm strong enough to save myself, and that's where it starts. She sat cross-legged on the sand and began to meditate, not with Sith techniques, not filtering her power through darkness, but simply existing with her chaos magic in its purest form. Red energy swirled around her, and slowly, gradually, the taint of Sith yellow began to fade. It would take time, possibly years. The corruption ran deep, and the temptation to embrace darkness for quick results would never fully disappear. But she was done taking shortcuts that cost her soul. Meanwhile, on Coruscant, Palpatine raged. She defied me, rejected me, chose weakness over power. His Force lightning shattered priceless artifacts in his throne room. Everything I offered, knowledge, resources, the truth about her children, and she threw it away for sentiment. Vader stood silently, letting the Emperor's fury burn itself out. We could send inquisitors, Palpatine mused. Hunt her down, break her completely, and rebuild her as a true servant of the dark side. It wouldn't work, Vader said. She's too powerful. Any force we send would fail, and failure would only strengthen her resolve. Then what do you suggest? Vader was quiet for a long moment. We wait. Let her believe she's free. Let her search for her children using the rebellion's methods. And when she inevitably fails, when she realizes the Jedi have no answers and her children remain beyond reach, she'll return to us, desperate, broken, ready to pay any price. Palpatine's anger cooled into calculating interest. You believe she'll fall again? I believe grief doesn't heal simply because you want it to. I believe the voices of her children will grow louder, more desperate, until she can't ignore them. I believe the dark side has touched her deeply enough that its seeds will eventually take root. Vader's respirator wheezed. She will fall, my master. We need only be patient. Patience, Palpatine hissed. I have been patient for decades. I can be patient longer. But both of them knew the truth. Wanda Maximoff had become the greatest variable in the galaxy. She could tip the balance toward the Empire or the Rebellion. could become the most powerful darkseid user in history or forge an entirely new path. The game was no longer about controlling her. It was about who she would ultimately choose to be when all other options were exhausted. And across the galaxy, on a forgotten moon, Wanda meditated under alien stars and wondered the same thing. 3 months had passed since Wobani. 3 months of Wanda living on a Talon, slowly purging the darkseid's influence from her chaos magic. 3 months of the rebellion quietly supporting her, bringing supplies, sharing what little knowledge they had about dimensional phenomena, asking nothing in return. It was the longest she'd gone without using her power destructively since acquiring it. Obi-Wan visited weekly, sometimes bringing ancient texts from hidden Jedi archives. Ahsoka came less frequently but stayed longer, teaching meditation techniques that helped Wanda separate her thoughts from external manipulation. Even Cassian stopped by once, awkwardly apologizing for not trusting her initially. "You didn't owe me trust," Wanda had told him. "I hadn't earned it." The rebellion had even assigned her a liaison, a former Imperial scientist named Galen Erso, who had defected after realizing what the Empire was building. He understood the physics of her chaos magic better than anyone, approaching it not as mysticism, but as quantum manipulation on a scale that defied conventional science. "Your power operates outside this universe's standard laws," Galen explained during one session, showing her calculations on a datapad. "It's not channeling energy from within this dimension. It's drawing from somewhere else, somewhere adjacent to reality. The space between universes," Wanda said. "I've felt it, like gaps in fabric where nothing should exist, but somehow does." Exactly. And if we could map those gaps, find patterns in how dimensions connect, Galen's eyes lit with scientific passion, we might be able to create a targeted search instead of you tearing randomly through reality, hoping to find your children. It was the first concrete progress she'd made. Not a guarantee, not a quick solution, but a genuine path forward that didn't require corruption or compromise. The children's voices still came at night, but they felt different now, less like manipulation, more like genuine psychic echoes. Whether they were real or her mind's construction, she couldn't yet tell, but she was learning to live with uncertainty instead of letting it drive her to desperate actions. Then on the morning of the 93rd day, everything changed. Wanda woke to find Vader standing at the edge of her plateau. She was on her feet instantly, chaos magic blazing. "How did you find me? I always knew where you were. I simply chose not to act." Vader's respirator wheezed in the quiet morning air. "But circumstances have changed. The Emperor is planning something catastrophic, and you're the only one who can stop it." "Why would I believe you?" "Because I'm going to tell you the truth about your children." Vader's tone carried absolute certainty. "And because what Palpatine intends will destroy any chance you have of ever finding them." Wanda lowered her hand slightly. "What truth?" "They exist. In another dimension, exactly as you suspected. I've felt them through the Force, echoes of your connection reaching across realities." Vader took a step closer. "But the dimensional barriers are destabilizing. Palpatine has been using Sith alchemy combined with data he extracted from your earlier experiments. He's trying to tear a permanent rift between universes, not to help you, but to access realities he can conquer. If he tears open the barriers, your children's dimension could collapse. The psychic connection you share would be severed permanently. They would die, Wanda, along with trillions of other beings across multiple realities." Wanda felt ice flood her veins. "You're lying. This is another manipulation. I'm many things, but I don't lie about children." Vader's voice carried painful sincerity. "I told you I had a son still alive. His name is Luke Skywalker. The Emperor wants to capture him, corrupt him, turn him into a weapon. I've been searching for Luke to protect him from that fate, just as you've been searching for your sons. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm tired of serving evil. Tired of watching Palpatine destroy everything good in the galaxy. Tired of being the monster that kills the very things I once swore to protect." Vader's hands clenched. "And because you reminded me that it's not too late to choose differently, you stood up to the Emperor. You rejected the dark side when it would have been easier to embrace it. If you can find redemption, perhaps He didn't finish, but Wanda understood. Vader, Anakin Skywalker, buried beneath machinery and hate, was reaching for the light one last time, and he was asking for her help. What does Palpatine need to tear the rift? You. Your chaos magic is the key. He's built a device on Exegol, an ancient Sith world hidden in the unknown regions. It's designed to amplify dimensional manipulation, but it requires a reality warper to activate it. He's been planning to capture you, break you, and force you to power his weapon. Then I'll never go near Exegol. You won't have a choice. He's already moving against the rebellion. Massive Imperial fleet mobilizing to crush Yavin 4, Hoth, every known base. The only way to stop him is to confront him directly, and the moment you do, he'll spring his trap. Wanda felt the familiar weight of impossible choices settling on her shoulders. So either I let the rebellion be destroyed, or I walk into Palpatine's trap and risk becoming the weapon that destroys the multiverse. There is a third option, Vader said. We go to Exegol together. We destroy the device before he can activate it, and we kill Palpatine. You want to kill your master. I want to kill the monster who turned me into this, who destroyed Padme, who's about to destroy your children and mine. Yes, Vader's voice was steel. I cannot do it alone, but together, your chaos magic and my knowledge of his techniques, we might succeed. Wanda studied him. Every instinct screamed that this was a trap, that Vader was still Palpatine's creature, leading her exactly where the Emperor wanted. But she could feel his sincerity through his forced presence, the desperation, the genuine desire to protect his son and atone for decades of atrocities. If I help you and we somehow survive, what then? You expect me to just forget you're responsible for murdering thousands of Jedi? For terrorizing the galaxy? No. I expect you to let the rebellion decide my fate. I will face justice for what I've done. But first, I will save my son. And yours. Before Wanda could respond, her comlink chirped. Obi-Wan's voice, urgent and strained. Wanda, we need you at Yavin 4. Imperial fleet just dropped out of hyperspace. Massive force. Star Destroyers, Super Star Destroyer, full invasion complement. They're demanding your surrender or they'll destroy the base. I'm coming, she said, already tearing open a portal. She turned to Vader. You want redemption? Then come with me. Help defend the rebellion from your own fleet. Prove you mean what you say. If I openly betray the Empire now, Palpatine will accelerate his plans. We'll lose our chance to reach Exegol. Then I guess you'll have to choose. Your revenge plot or doing the right thing right now. Wanda stepped toward the portal. I've learned that waiting for the perfect moment to be good usually means never being good at all. For a long moment, Vader stood frozen. Then with a sound that might have been a laugh or a sob distorted by his respirator, he ignited his lightsaber and followed her through the portal. They emerged above Yavin 4 to chaos. Rebel ships, what few they had, were scrambling to defend the moon. The Imperial fleet was massive. 20 Star Destroyers in formation, the Executor Superstar Destroyer looming like a city in space, and hundreds of TIE fighters swarming like insects. It wasn't a battle, it was an execution. All rebel forces. This is Admiral Piet, a voice broadcast across all channels. Surrender the reality warper known as Wanda Maximoff within 1 hour, or we will commence orbital bombardment of Yavin 4. This is your only warning. Wanda floated in space, held aloft by chaos magic. Beside her, Vader stood on a platform of solid force energy. Below, she could see rebel personnel evacuating the base, loading transports with wounded, children, and essential equipment. They'd never get everyone out in time. I should surrender, she said. It's me they want. And the moment you do, Palpatine wins. He gets his weapon, destroys the rebellion, and tears apart the multiverse. Vader's tone was grim. There's no surrender that saves anyone. Then what? Then we fight, here, now. We show the Emperor that his greatest servants have abandoned him. Wanda looked at the massive fleet, at the thousands of TIE fighters, at the overwhelming firepower arrayed against a handful of rebel ships and 2 individuals. One fallen Sith and one corrupted witch trying to find her way back to the light. The odds were impossible. The enemy was overwhelming. Any sane person would retreat, regroup, find another way. But Wanda Maximoff had spent 3 months learning that sanity was overrated, that impossible odds just meant you had to be creative, that sometimes the only way forward was through absolute chaos. She smiled, a wild, fierce expression that would have terrified anyone who saw it. "Okay," she said, "let's see what a Scarlet Witch can really do when she's not holding back." Her eyes blazed pure crimson, no Sith yellow, no corruption, just raw chaos magic in its most honest form. She raised her hands and reality began to bend around her. On the Executor's Bridge, Admiral Piet suddenly found his instruments reading impossible data. "Sir, sensors are detecting massive reality distortions. Energy readings off the scale." "Fire everything!" Palpatine's voice crackled over secure comms. "Kill her before she—" Too late. Wanda gestured, and 20 Star Destroyers found their weapons turning into flowers. Blooming, beautiful, absolutely useless flowers that drifted through space like petals on the wind. Another gesture, and the TIE fighter's engines became songbirds that scattered into space, chirping in confusion. "Impressive," Vader murmured. "Creative. I've been practicing. Turns out chaos magic works better when you're not trying to murder people with it." Wanda spun, and the Executor's gravity suddenly inverted, sending personnel floating toward the ceiling. "You want to help or just watch?" Vader reached out with the Force, and the Superstar Destroyer's shields collapsed. "Your magic, my technique. Let's show Palpatine what happens when his weapons turn against him." What followed was a battle that would become legend across the galaxy. The day a Sith Lord and a reality warper stood against the Empire's might and won through sheer impossible audacity. Wanda transformed weapons into art, engines into animals, threats into absurdities. Vader systematically dismantled systems, shields, and communications with surgical precision. Together, they were chaos incarnate. On Yavin 4, rebels watched the impossible battle and found themselves believing, really believing, that they might survive this, that the Empire wasn't invincible, that sometimes heroes emerge from the most unlikely places. But in his throne room on Coruscant, Palpatine merely smiled. "Good," he whispered. "Fight for them, protect them, become their champion. And when the time comes, when I threaten not just the rebellion, but the dimensional barriers keeping your children trapped, you'll have no choice but to come to me, to beg for my help, to become exactly what I always knew you would be." The trap was set. The bait was in place. All he had to do now was wait for Wanda Maximoff to realize she'd been playing his game all along. The battle above Yavin 4 ended not with Imperial victory or Rebel triumph, but with retreat. Admiral Piet, his fleet transformed into a surreal nightmare of flowers and songbirds, ordered a withdrawal that would haunt Imperial strategists for months. The rebellion evacuated successfully, scattering to hidden bases across the Outer Rim. And Wanda Maximoff, standing amid the wreckage of her choices, finally understood the true nature of her war. She returned to Atollon with Vader, no longer master and apprentice, emperor and weapon, but two broken souls searching for redemption through vastly different paths. They spoke for hours about their children, about the people they'd killed in grief's name, about whether monsters could ever truly become human again. "I don't know if I can forgive myself," Wanda admitted as twin suns set over red sand. "You're not supposed to," Vader replied. "Forgiveness is what others grant. What we owe ourselves is something harder, the commitment to be better, even when being better means living with unbearable guilt." He left before dawn, returning to the Empire one last time. Not as Palpatine's servant, but as a saboteur. He would feed intelligence to the rebellion, protect Luke from the shadows, and wait for the moment when he could finally destroy the Emperor who had destroyed him. Wanda remained on Atollon, working with Galen Erso on dimensional mapping. The progress was slow, agonizingly slow, but it was honest progress. No shortcuts, no dark side corruption, just science, chaos magic, and desperate hope. The voices of her children still came at night, but she'd learned to answer them differently, not with promises she couldn't keep, but with truth. "I'm still looking. I haven't given up. I'm just taking the long way home." The rebellion offered her sanctuary and purpose. She began joining missions, not as a weapon of mass destruction, but as a protector, defending evacuation ships, rescuing prisoners, using her reality warping abilities to save instead of destroy. Each mission reminded her of who she wanted to be, rather than what grief had made her. Obi-Wan told her once, during a quiet moment, "The dark side will never stop calling to you. The temptation to use quick, terrible solutions will always exist. But every time you choose the harder, better path, you make the next choice slightly easier. And if I fail, if I fall again, then people who care about you will help you stand back up." That's what redemption is, not a destination, but a direction you choose every single day. Months became a year. The year became 2. The war raged on, but Wanda Maximoff fought it on her own terms. She would find Billy and Tommy eventually. She had to believe that, but she would find them as someone they could be proud of, not as a monster wearing their mother's face. Palpatine waited in the shadows, his trap still set, patient as death itself. He knew grief was a wound that never fully healed, knew that eventually Wanda would grow desperate enough to make mistakes. But what the Emperor didn't understand, what he could never understand, was that some people grew stronger in their brokenness, that healing wasn't weakness, but the hardest battle of all. The Scarlet Witch had fallen. She had touched the dark side and tasted its power. She had nearly destroyed everything in pursuit of an impossible dream. But she had also chosen to stop, to heal, to search for her children without sacrificing her soul. And in a galaxy where the Force demanded balance, where light and dark eternally struggled, that choice, that simple, difficult, human choice, mattered more than any power, any empire, any destiny. Her story was far from over. The Emperor's final trap still waited. The dimensional barrier still separated her from Billy and Tommy. The war between light and darkness would continue to rage. But Wanda Maximoff had learned the most important lesson of all. Sometimes the only way to save what you love is to first save yourself. And that journey, terrifying and uncertain as it was, had finally begun. Across the stars in a dimension adjacent to this one, 2 children felt their mother's presence growing stronger, clearer, more like herself than she'd been in years. They didn't understand the forces keeping them apart, or the battles she was fighting to reach them. They only knew that somewhere their mother was still searching, still fighting, still refusing to give up. And for now, for this moment suspended between universes, that was enough. May the Force be with you. Yeah.